Hey, welcome everybody. Dylan over here at the Caden Academy, and I say this every video, but I'm actually really excited to bring you all a new experiment that I'm running, and it's called Imagination Creates Reality Experiment. And this is something really that I've been working on my entire life. And many people, and the reason why this video has come about is because many people have said to me, Dylan, we really admire, for whatever reason, you seem to just be able to manifest, and let's just agree to use that word, right? You seem to be able to manifest so many things in your life. And I've had so many people over the years reach out to me and ask me, what is my process? And it's not that I've discovered anything new. It's just that I've embraced and taught myself and trained my mind to understand one principle and one principle only. And I'm going to share that with you all in this video in detail, in depth. And so I want to get into it. And, I've been fascinated. So I guess let me take a step back and just tell you guys that I'll be sharing with you guys. So I've been inspired to say, okay, let's run an experiment. Let's see if we can duplicate the results that I've had my entire life and put it into an easy to understand system to follow. So we'll do that by running an experiment and tracking that experiment and documenting other people's results. And so I want to share that with you all here. And I encourage you, if you want to take your meditation practices deeper, you want to take your manifestation practices deeper, to really just kind of follow what it is that I'm teaching here step by step, and then share in the comments. I'm putting this out there as a resource and a tool for all of you that are watching, for the world to use, to experiment with your own. This is a self-guided experiment. And if you do need help in any capacity, there's going to be lots of resources below this video on how to get help. You can work with me one-on-one, for example. You can join our Inner Edge community, for example, which I'm in there interacting with people. I can create for you a custom curated visualization and manifestation audio to help you kind of walk through what it is that you're trying to do. But it's really to solidify this. So many spiritual text talks about how our imagination creates reality. And for me, I remember my journey started when I was 16 years old. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. My mind was just racing and racing and racing. I couldn't sleep. It just never shut off. I could feel, I joke with people. I tell people I kind of see the world in like binary code, zeros and ones. I'm a very analytical person by nature. And so I discovered Buddhism. And I think it was specifically Zen Buddhism and the concept of meditation. And so I started meditating at a very young age, well, you want to call it young, but 16, to kind of just train myself to get control over my mind, to be able to turn my mind off on demand. And at the time, it was really just to be able to fall asleep. And so I did that. It took me many years to be able to sit still for some time and to be able to just shut the thoughts off. And then as time went on, I got fascinated. I used to study people like Wayne Dyer and Ram Dass and Alan Watts. I even grew up Catholic. I grew up, and then later in life, I studied Catholicism. Christianity as well for many, many years in Scripture. So I've studied a lot of things. Neville Goddard, which is a big inspiration of mine as well too. And time again, this concept of imagination creates reality. And, it's even in scripture. And I've got some notes here as well. John 14:12 says, you too will do even greater things than these if you simply have faith. And so we keep seeing this concept of our thoughts create our reality, our beliefs, our imagination. And, the simplest way that I can explain it is reality is what you believe it to be. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You're not a victim of this physical world, which so many people feel trapped in. That if you have, even in scripture, Jesus used to say, if you had the faith even as small as a mustard seed, you could tell that mountain to move and it would move. And I've experienced that in my own life in many different ways. I believe that wholeheartedly. And it's not just the Bible that points that out, it's so much religious text. And so at some point, you got to stop and you got to say to yourself, cancel out of the noise, and you got to say, well, wait a minute, what are all of these spiritual leaders telling us, trying to tell us about the world in existence and the reality which we believe to exist around us? And how much control do we actually have over that or not have over that? And the answer is you have complete and total control over that. That God is creation, and that creative force and power is literally residing within you all day, every day. And it just comes down to, do you believe or do you not believe? If you believe that your imagination creates reality, your imagination is going to create reality. If you say, oh, that's all fluff, manifestation, imagination, none of that stuff exists, then none of it exists. They want to say if there's any secret to manifestation, you've got to have the belief, you've got to have the faith. And we'll go into this experiment PDF here. I've made this resource available to everybody watching this video. I'm going to go through it line by line. So this is going to be a fairly long video, but you can download the PDF that I'm going to go over here in a moment, and all the resources, and you can conduct this experiment. Don't just listen to what it is I'm telling you as we get into this. Conduct this experiment for yourself. Go into it with an open mind, with extreme curiosity. I wonder if what he's saying is true. I wonder if I can repeat some of this in my own life. And then share with us. I want to see all the beautiful stories of transformation in the comments below. I'm going to read every single one of them. Okay. So you guys are in the experiment with me. I'm opening up my process. Some of the things that I've been able to do through thought alone. One of the person that I was always really inspired by was Joe Dispenza. I studied him. I studied people like Jose Silva and the Silva method, all types of different methods on visualization. And the key to it all, and which we'll get into in this PDF, is it's not enough to just visualize it in your mind. But like Neville Goddard used to say, you have to live in your wish fulfilled. You have to fully embody the principle of what it is that you desire is already there. You've already achieved it. And being able to attach to that visualization, the feelings, that's the key. So if somebody says, well, what's the secret or the key to manifestation? Well, you can boil down all the spiritual text and messages people are trying to tell you. You have to feel it. You have to feel as if you are already living your wish fulfilled, whatever that might be, whether it's financial boost, whether it's a transformation in your marriage or friendships or at work, whether it's being better shape for yourself, whether you're healing from something, which I've done a lot of healing, holistic, natural healing work. Whatever it is, you have to feel. You have to feel and use your senses in your imagination as you're visualizing for it to then manifest. And like Neville used to say, it has no choice but to exist, but to come to fruition within your life. And that's the real secret. And honestly, that's the hardest part when we talk about manifestation, is ignoring your senses that are saying, beep, 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 radar, radar, radar. You're imagining this. None of this is real. Whatever the case might be, you have to ignore all of the physical stuff around you that's happening and stick with holding, like Neville Goddard used to say, you don't have to know how. You don't have to be concerned with the timeline, because what it is that you envision, what it is that you want to come into reality, is on its own timeline. So you don't need to worry about when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. Your only job is to embody the feeling that you already have what it is that you desire. And that takes practice, that takes daily practice, that takes, despite what your senses are telling you, despite what your visual, audio, touch, smell, everything around you is saying, oh, it's not happening, nothing's changing, nothing's happening. You have to ignore all of that noise and stick and continue to hold not just that intention, but that feeling that you already have what it is you desire. I healed myself, big part of my healing from a couple major things in my life that I just use as an example to help inspire some of you. I had a collapsed L4 and L5 disc, and it was horrible. I was basically sleeping in a beanbag chair for a year. Whenever I sneezed or moved wrong, I would involuntarily collapse. It was pretty difficult. But I believed in the power of this concept, which I'm explaining to you guys, and the power of the mind to basically do, not basically, to literally do everything that you embody as real, you know? And so I spent a long time and I healed myself. But a big part of that practice was visualizing every single day my actual spine and discs growing. And Joe Dispenza has a lot of stories about healing through the power of the mind. And it's not just Joe Dispenza. There's many books on he's just kind of the most popular one, but there's many books on using the mind to heal yourself. And I took my discs in my spine from basically bone on bone to a healthy disc size, which I think was 11 or 13 millimeters. And a big part of that was visualization. I had issues with my gallbladder at the time, and same thing, visualization healed that as well. So many, many, many things. Okay. And I just give you some examples of the power of the mind. And Neville Goddard actually has a book. Unfortunately, I don't have it here on the desk with me, but it is in the PDF as a recommendation. And he gives in his book, let me just cite it for you all here. We'll get to that in the video. But I believe it's called The Law and the Promise. I could be wrong, but I think that's the one. And he gives you examples after examples of people that have healed themselves through this concept. Okay. So it is very much real. If you believe it's real. If you don't believe it's real, then it's not going to be real. It's the principle is pretty simplistic on its face, but it's the hardest thing to grasp because you have to ignore your senses and understand that the power of God, that the power of creation literally is within you. And scripture tells you that. I mean, it's front and center. If you're, of Christian faith or Catholic faith or whatever faith you are, somewhere in your text, it's going to basically boil down to everything that we're talking about here right now. And you just got to pay attention to it. Okay. So anyways, enough rambling. Let me kind of make sure I didn't miss anything here. I'm going to get into actually covering this resource for you all. And I hope that you watching this video can do this experiment and comment and share with us. The thing that I want to encourage everybody to do before we get into this video is to join our newsletter at thecadenacademy.com. And that's CADEN, cadenacademy.com. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to get some powerful, not just productivity tips, but mindset tips, aligned productivity resources. Every 5 to 7 days now, there's almost 200 days of content and growing. Every Friday, I add new content to that newsletter. But the other great thing that you get, not just the free downloads by joining that newsletter and all of the templates and meditations and things that come with it, but you get an invite to join our Inner Edge community on Facebook. And I'm really trying to grow that community. I want to grow that community to 1,000 people, like-minded people. And that community is your direct connection, not just to me. So you can ask questions. You can say, hey, I'm stuck here. You can have help with this experiment or these visualizations or whatever it is. You can interact with me. Yes, that's great. But also to interact with everybody else that is like-minded within that group. So if you've ever wanted to be a part of a group of like-minded individuals that share some of these core beliefs and concepts, you're going to get an invitation to join that Inner Edge community. And for right now, it's completely free. So my commitment is to show up every day and help as many people as I can in that group. So you can join all of that by going to cadenacademy.com. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this PDF and I'll walk you through the experiment. And I really hope that so many of you watching this video participate in this. Don't concern yourself with the time in which things take to manifest. The physical world, as Neville Goddard used to say, always shows up a little slower than your imagination world. Okay, or the world in which you're imagining, the wish fulfilled in which you're imagining. Okay, he said it a lot better than I say it. But I'm going to share with you pretty much what I've done for most of my life, pretty much what a lot of the manifestation discussions and topics are going to discuss with you. And hopefully you guys enjoy. And most importantly, I can't wait to see some of the manifestations in the comments that are coming to all of you who participate in this and have the faith and believe in it. Okay, so hang tight. We're going to get into the PDF here in a moment. Okay, welcome everybody. Dylan here. I am back, and let's get into the meat and bones of what I'm discussing here. This is going to be the meat and bones, and I want all of those who are willing to and have the faith to participate in this imagination creates reality experiment, and you guys can see for yourself. So I will provide a link in the description to get here, but basically you just got to go to cadenacademy.com. And remember the newsletter I had talked to you about? You can join that through the Productivity Jumpstart 7-Day Challenge and get all the good freebies that come along with it. Or you can skip that, which, that's up to you. And go right to the Inner Edge community as well and join that here. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see these resources, these free resources down here in the bottom right corner. It's called Freebies and Downloads. And you can download, I put some things in here that I don't mind sharing with everybody. And you can download and click on the Imagination Creates Reality experiment. And you're going to get two resources. You're going to get the daily tracker, and you're going to get the Imagination Creates Reality PDF. And so let's pull that up now. So here it is. I want to cover with you guys briefly some groundwork on this experiment. There's some core beliefs that I think are fundamental before you get into this experiment and this manifestation experiment. And if you don't have some of these core beliefs, it's going to be very difficult to bring things into fruition. The most important of it all is you have to believe. You have to believe it's possible. If you're trying to heal yourself through thought, you have to believe healing yourself through thought is possible. This is the fascinating thing about the reality in which we experience, and what so much religious text tells you is reality. And I'm just going to say this: reality is what you believe it to be. If you believe you can heal yourself by taking a little white pill, you're going to heal yourself. If you believe you can heal yourself through thought alone, you're going to heal yourself. If you believe that, the world is a terrible place, the world's going to be a terrible place. And it goes on and on and on for everything in your life. And so if you are not a believer in manifestation, if you don't believe manifestation is possible, if you don't believe that imagination can create reality, it's not going to work. And that's one of the hardest things for people to get to, is to first, in like we used to say in our coaching, and we still say it, it's reality. Okay. And that's the belief that you have to hold on to. So some of the core beliefs for this to work is having a belief that you are not separate from God, that God is within you. And I spent several years with a fine-tooth comb going through, if you remember, I grew up Catholic, and then I left Catholicism, and I went the whole spiritual route and followed people like, Ram Dass and Wayne Dyer and Alan Watts and Patanjali, and even to some extent, I've read a lot of Osho's work, all types of stuff, okay? And even within Scripture, and I like to use Scripture because so many of us come from, in the States at least, so many of us come from a background that's either from Catholicism or Christianity. And what I believe Jesus was saying in so many of his teachings is he's trying to point this out to us, right? So you'll see there, John 10:30. I and my Father are one. John 14-12. You will do even greater things than these if you simply have faith. Neville Goddard teaches this. So many people teach that the very power of God is quite literally within you. You're not separate from God. You have to understand that. Jesus said, like, all of these things I do, you too can do, but greater. So this is a concept that you really is going to be very important to helping you kind of establish this belief that um, the power of God, the power of creation lives within you, and that you are participating. And the way that I look at it and the way that I talk about it is that you are participating and co-creating every single day with God. I wake up in the morning and I say, "Good morning, God." I have this inner dialogue with myself and with God, who is within me and my mind. And if I can hear my thoughts, God is within me, and God can hear all of my thoughts. And by the way, Scripture tells you that as well too. Um, and so I wake up every morning and say, "Good morning, God," or "Good afternoon," or "Good evening," or whatever it is. What are we going to go co-create today? Move through me, move the power of creation through me. Let's go out and create the reality in the world in which we want to live in and experiment. I mean, so many religious texts tell you we're here as spiritual energies and frequencies within these physical bodies, and we're here to have these experiences, and we're here to enjoy this embodiment, right? And so realizing that God is not some figure in the sky that you pray and that you hope is going to intervene within your life, or your circumstances, that quite literally the power of God resides within you, that God is with you every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even as Scripture says, "I am with you, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you, I will be within you through all things, thick and thin, through the waters, through the mud," you name it. It's all there. So to stop thinking that God is this figure that is not going to intervene in your life, that you have to appease in some way. No, God is literally within you. And so that's a strong core belief that you have to adopt. The second one here, and we kind of talked about this already, is that, it's helpful to envision yourself in a partnership with God. God is within all things. He's within me. He's within you. He's within all of the animals, all of the insects, all the bugs, all the animate objects, all the inanimate objects. We are just living a wild, wild experience of just immense creation of every kind through all things. And so it's helpful to kind of treat it. And this, again, I'm just sharing with you what has worked for me since I was 16 years old. And of course, it's adapted and been refined. I'm 39 as of this video, so that's what many years. Okay, so far. And so I'm sharing with you what has worked with me, and having this belief that you wake up every morning and that you're co-creating with God. Okay, God, what shall we co-create today? That's what I ask myself every single morning. Okay? We've already talked about having the belief that imagination creates reality. Your imagination is not fantasy. It's the creative of power of God expressing him, herself, itself through you. And what you impress upon your subconscious, especially, here's the key word, especially through emotion, will be expressed into your world. And so I spent many years trying to figure out what works in visualization and manifestation and what doesn't. And the main component is the emotional component. You have to, and I keep going back to Neville Goddard because he had this down to a T. You have to feel. You have to feel your wish fulfilled. If you're trying to envision yourself getting a new car, let's just use that as an example. You're visualizing yourself walking into the dealership and all of the sights and smells and sounds. Maybe there's popcorn. Maybe there's voices here. Maybe there's drinking a water and you can taste the water. Whatever it is, this is what I'm talking about. You can't just visualize it, what it is that you desire. You have to feel it in every imagination of your senses through your sight. What are you seeing in your vision? What are you feeling in your vision? What are you hearing in your vision? What are you smelling? What are you touching? in your vision. This is if you want to say there's a secret, quote unquote, is not a secret because people have been telling us this for centuries. This is the key piece, okay? The feeling, the emotion. Without it, what it is that you desire is not going to come into existence. So I really want you to pay attention to that. Expression equals expression. Impression equals expression. The subconscious does not argue. It accepts what is felt to be true and express it in your reality. And this is why they say if you knew the power of your thoughts, that you would watch and filter every single thought that goes through your mind, because your mind, God, creation, is just having a blast. It doesn't care, you know, about if you're sad, if you're hungry, if you're this, if you're that, if you're depressed or you're anxious. Whatever you're feeding your mind is coming into reality. And so if you're fearful and you're operating from a lack of abundance and scarcity, you're going to continue to get more of that. If you're always thinking about how poor you are, how much money you don't have, this is what this means. God, creation, does not care. It's indifferent either way. God's saying to you, you're allowed to have whatever experience you want to have here on earth. Let's do it, right? I'm with you. I'm expressing myself through you. If you want to have the experience of always having lack, and that's the thought that you hold in your mind all the time, then let's roll with it. But just as easy as you're having that thought and that mindset, you can say, you know what, I'm tired of that. Let's create something new. Let's create abundance. Let's start to live in the fact that money comes to me effortlessly. I'm going to recontextualize and change my thoughts. And instead of saying, man, it's so hard, I always have to struggle, I'm going to switch. And I'm going to say to myself, money comes to me effortlessly. It's like I don't even have to try, and begin having those conversations. And here's what Neville Goddard used to teach, and I use him as a big example a lot. Reality, that's what you want to call it, has no choice but to confirm, but to catch up and bring into existence the thought that you hold on to most of the time. So when you begin to change your thoughts and move away from, and I'm just going to use financial because so many people are facing financial challenges and operating from fear. When you move away from the thought of, for example, money is so hard, I always have to struggle, and you recontextualize it and you begin to say to yourself every day, nope, that's not true. I'm going to abandon that story I'm telling myself, and I'm going to create a new reality. Money comes to me effortlessly. It's like I show up every day and God provides. By the way, scripture says that. Scripture always says, I will always provide for you. And if you believe that, that is going to be the case. Okay. So just keeping that thought in mind. All right. Let's move to the next one. You don't need, this is very important. You don't need to know the how or the when. Your job is the end. The means belongs to God. And Neville Goddard always used to say, you don't have to know. And Wayne Dyer talked about this all the time. Alan Watts talked about this all the time. Ram Dass as well, too. You don't concern yourself with the timing of things. We want it now. We want it to happen now. You know, we don't want to wait a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or however long it might take to manifest. We want it now, but you have to suspend the idea of any time. This is a kind of a man-made belief. This idea of time is of no concern to God. And if you want things to manifest faster in your life, the quicker you can live as your wish is already fulfilled, truly, and embody that in all of its senses and all the feelings that come with it, the faster it's going to appear in your life. The reason why manifestations take a little longer is because you still have doubts. You're still contradicting what it is that you want. You have to operate as if it already has occurred. There's no doubt. There's no, is this going to happen or not going to happen? There's none of that. It's just a complete and utter belief that, you know, I believe you could walk on water, to be honest with you. If you believe strongly enough in your mind and in your spirit and your emotions that you can walk on water, you'll walk on water. I'm going to use that as an example, as an extreme example, right? But the point that I want to make is that manifestations take longer to come to fruition if there's any contradictory thoughts or, and most importantly, feelings or emotions. So your job is to only hold on to the feeling of your wish fulfilled and to just grasp that feeling no matter what your senses are telling you every single day, to just grasp that feeling. No matter what is happening around you, no matter what your eyes are telling you, no matter what your ears are hearing, no matter what your eyes are reading, your only job is to simply hold on to the feeling of your wish fulfilled every single day, and it will have no choice. I am telling you, I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in other people's lives that I've worked with as well and through the coaching. It will have no choice but to appear in its own timing. It will appear. Okay? And this leads us into you must trust with your spirit, not your senses. The outer world may contradict your inner vision. That's okay. Faith means believing it's done, even when there is no evidence. We just talked about that. Having the belief that God can hear you because God is you. When you speak to yourself internally, realize if I can hear me, I say this to myself all the time, even I'm human like you guys. Doubt creeps in is a natural thing, but you got to catch it. And so you say, if I can hear me, God can hear me. If I can hear my thoughts, God can certainly hear those thoughts. Your inner voice is your prayer. The same God within you is within all people, all things, and all circumstances. Okay? And then an important note here I put on this PDF is when you're practicing this manifestation experience, when imagining it's not enough to just imagine or think of the image, but we talked about this. You must think from the image. Feel yourself inside the fulfilled experience and live from it. This is a key concept. It's not enough to think of the image, but you have to think from the image. Really take some time to understand that. Okay, so let's move into some of the daily practices. And this is a technique that was inspired by something I had heard that, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but Neville Goddard had done. So I like to have students start with what we call this ladder exercise. And this is really an exercise and kind of proving to yourself some of the concepts that we're talking about and operating from the subconscious mind versus the conscious mind. And so before you even get into your manifestation experiment, I like to have students start with what we call the ladder exercise. And so it's going to contradict itself. So for, it says 1 to 3 days, but really 3 or 4 days, I want you to take some of the principles that we've talked about, embodying the feeling of things, and visualize yourself literally walking up a ladder and walking down a ladder. And do this every night for maybe even 4 or 5 nights. 1, 2, 3 days. I would say 3 to 5 days is a little bit better. But at least for the first 3 days, as you lay down to sleep and you begin to fall asleep, just visualize yourself walking up and down a ladder. But more than just visualizing it, if you remember, you have to feel it. So feel the ladder in your hands, the sounds that might be occurring as you walk up and down the ladder. Where are you? What's around you in this visualization? Feel it. Feel it. Use your senses to feel it. And do that for at least 3 days. If you can, 4 or 5. And at the same token, what I want you all to do is to put a couple sticky notes around your house and on your mirror, on your bathroom mirror, maybe on your refrigerator door, some of the places you visit very often, maybe your bedroom door. And that sign's going to say, I will not climb a ladder. So this is your conscious mind. And we're going to begin to see a difference between what's in control, your conscious mind or your subconscious mind. And so as you're laying down to visualize yourself walking up and down a ladder, you're also noticing notes around your home through your conscious mind that says, I will not climb a ladder. And then just take that week to observe and journal anything that's happening. Anything that involves a ladder or climbing. Has that showed up in your life? It can be literal, it can be symbolic. And when you guys get done doing this experiment, this step one, post it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you all. So just say, I wonder what's going to happen here. And go through the next 4, 5, 6, 7 days with just extreme curiosity as you do this. But also be aware and observant. Whether it's symbolic or whether it's literal, is there anything that's appearing within your life that involves climbing, that involves heights, that involves a ladder in any capacity? And share that in the comments below. So I'd like to have students start with that, because that really gets your mind realizing the difference between the power of the subconscious mind and the power of the conscious mind. Okay? So do that and share it with us in the comments. And then now let's get into the daily manifestation practices. So the most important practice that I want to say, in my experience and with other students, is your evening visualization. And so you want to start with, when we get into whatever it is that you want to bring into existence or manifest, and just be aware, it might not be literal, it might be similar, it might come to fruition in a slightly different way or a slightly different fashion, certainly a slightly different timing. By the way, sometimes it could happen the next day. I've seen that before. Sometimes it could happen in days or weeks or months or whatever it is. Don't concern yourself with the timing. But the most important practice I want to say is the one before you go to bed. You almost want to fall asleep, spending 10 to 15 minutes, or I'm sorry, 15 to 20 minutes I have found is a really good time. 10 is a little too short. 15 to 20 minutes kind of seems to be the sweet spot to be in this visualization mentally. So as you're laying down to go to sleep, you're visualizing every night this, whatever it is you want to bring into fruition, this wish fulfilled, we call it, right? And again, the most important part of this is the feelings associated with, you already received it. And if you need help to at least get started, maybe you're not familiar with meditations, maybe your visualizations aren't as strong. With practice every single day and with consistency, it gets easier. It gets more profound. You get more control over what you're doing. It's like a muscle. You have to practice it. So if you're not familiar with sitting down every day and meditating for 15 or 20 minutes, it's going to be difficult at first. You're going to find yourself wandering, your mind wandering at first. And that's okay. With practice and with time, you bring it back in. Focus on your visualization. Focus on your senses within that. What are you feeling? What are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? What are you touching in this visualization that you're trying to bring? Live as if you are quite literally already living in that wish fulfilled. That's the secret. And at some point, you know you're doing a good job, because at some point, you're going to not know the difference between your visualization and actually being awake. You're going to say to yourself, well, wait a minute, this feels so real, but yet I don't have it, right? And so when you start to feel yourself literally feeling like this is here, I must have lost it, where is it? You know you're doing it right. Because at some point, you're going to be so deep in visualizing what it is that you want and feeling what you want. Number one, it is going to come to fruition within your life, and you're not going to know the difference between, are you visualizing this or is it really happening? And that's kind of where you want to work towards. Okay. But I found the evening one to be the most powerful, as well as the next morning. So if we go to step one, you're going to repeat the same process in the morning before you get out of bed. And I like the morning so much. And Jose Silva used to teach this, because your mind is still in, I think he called it the alpha state. Your mind is still in this state where your subconscious is easily programmable, easily influenceable. And it's the subconscious mind that is creating your reality. Well, it's God that's creating your reality, right? But through your subconscious mind. Okay. And so, before you even get out of bed, just open your eyes and do your visualization. And another helpful thing that I like to say every morning to myself, even if for whatever reason you've had a bad day or the day isn't going as planned, you bring yourself back to this statement. But before I even get out of bed and after my visualizations, I say to myself, something good is coming today. I don't know what it is, but I know something good is coming today. And then I go throughout my days with an extreme curiosity of, okay, and when I lay my head down to sleep at night, I'm going to account for what that good thing was. And almost every single day, not almost every day, I can find something good that has happened. And you can too, right? And so, again, that's another powerful statement that you can use to begin to attract all of these good things. So you're operating at these frequencies. You're moving away from fear and scarcity and more of that, and moving into abundance and moving into life and moving into the reality that you want. And so that's a helpful thing that I like to do in the morning. Something good is coming to me today. I can feel it. I can feel it. I don't know what it is yet, but I know something good's going to come. And then at the end of the day, when I get ready to do my evening visualizations, I account for what that good thing was. Sometimes it's many good things, right? But sometimes it's one really big thing. So keep that in mind. And then optional, if you have the time, or you're working or you're on lunch break or whatever it is, you can do another midday visualization, the same thing. Okay. And that's helpful as well. Your job is to only continue, despite what your senses are telling you, despite all of that, to just hold the intention of your wish fulfilled. Okay. So let's get into some tracking that can help. I'm going to pause the video and shoot a new one here, so hang tight. Okay, I'm back. So let's get into some of the tracking that can help, so that you don't have to track it. If you're working with me and you're coaching with me, we track it. It's very important to track it because I can help you tweak and adjust and monitor where you need to go, right? What's going right and what's not going wrong. And so again, this experiment can be done if you're a person that is really good at self kind of educating yourself and going through things on your own. You can probably do this on yourself and have really good results. If you're struggling or you want somebody to help coach you through it every single week, we can help you do that. I can help you do that as well. But you can do that for free by joining the Inner Edge that we talked about earlier in this video. Okay. And then you can also build a one-off kind of coaching call and say, hey, I need some help. I need to talk through, and you can book those coaching calls. But if you do want to track it, and if you are working with me one-on-one, we're definitely going to be tracking your experiences every week. But these are some of the things to track. Your morning, midday. Let me just go to the sheet. So you can click on this link here in the sheet. It's also in the free resources center here, Imagination Creates Reality. And you just got to get in the habit of daily, did you do your morning visualization, your midday, your evening? Did you feel your emotions through that visualization? How was it on a scale from 1 to 10? The same thing with alignment, same thing with your dialogue with God every day, and any note, sign, or synchronicity. So feel free to use that as a resource as well and track your experience. And you can get that tracking sheet either by going to the free download section here on Caden Academy, or joining this experiment. There's a million ways to do it. Okay. If you want to take what it is that I'm saying here deeper and hear it from other people and hear stories of other people embodying this concept as well, there's one particular book that I strongly recommend, and it's Neville Goddard's Deluxe Collection. It's all 14 of his books. You can click this link and buy it on Amazon. I don't have an affiliate set up for that, so it's not like I make anything from this. This is a book that helped me quite a bit, and I'm sharing it with you guys so it can help you as well too. But if you do purchase that book, and I strongly recommend you do, so you can cement some of these ideas and concepts, I recommend that you read it in this order. So you read within there, it's all of his books. You read At Your Command, pages 5 through 19 first, The Law and Purpose in these pages second, and third and fourth, and all of that, and so on. I recommend that you read it in that order, okay? It's very helpful when you do that. So we'll talk about support and ongoing guidance. Again, if you want to work with me one-on-one through this process, I would love to do that. There's nothing that makes me happier than working with people one-on-one in this capacity and seeing what we're saying here, what basically all the religious texts have been saying for centuries come into fruition. I love that. I love to see it. So if you do find yourself struggling on your own, utilize our coaching. And you can do that. There's resources in this PDF, there's resources in this video. The free way to do it is to join the Inner Edge community. And then you can also book one-off calls. There's links for that as well too, if you want to actually have a phone call, which is super, super helpful. And you can just do one call. You don't have to commit to a call every single week. You will get the best results if you show up every week on a phone call and combine it with these principles, but you don't have to. Okay, so keep that in mind as well too. What did I put here for final intention? This is not just a spiritual idea, it's a real experiment. The goal is to develop repeatable, measurable process that helps people prove to themselves that 1, God is within you, imagination is divine power, faith is feeling, reality responds to inner conviction. You're not just being coached, you're helping build something sacred, lasting, and transformational. Okay, everybody? So let's do this. Okay, so I know that was fast and furious. I threw a lot at you guys there for, I don't know how long that video is going to end up, maybe close to an hour. It's simple in context. It's simple in principle. With practice, it gets easier. And that's what the thing you got to keep in mind. It's like if you've ever played a sport or an instrument or anything that you've done in life, you were never good at it to start. Think about riding a bike in its simplest form, right? Think about swimming, think about walking, think about your job, whatever it is, nothing starts off, bam, you already know it, you're an expert at it. And so this is no different than that. It's going to take practice, it's going to take reputation. But the thing that I want to leave you guys with is that if you just simply continue to hold the intention despite your senses, and like Neville used to say, reality, this physical world has no choice but to catch up. And if you believe it, it will be. Okay? So super excited to see people start to take this challenge. I'm putting it out there for the world to experiment with. Share with me in the comments if this was helpful for you. Share this video with your friends and family. And then also, most importantly, join me in the Inner Edge community. And I'm there to help guide you. I'm there to help answer questions. I'm there to help you get unstuck. I'm there to help you recalibrate as well. I can't help you unless you take advantage of the resources and participate. Okay? So enjoy, everybody. Looking forward to see so many of you begin to take this challenge and share with us your experience in the comments. Okay? Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.